Pareto's law is a law that can increase the productivity of your life. Pareto's law is one of those laws that can have many applications in everyday life. This rule, which is also known as the 80-20th rule, can significantly increase your productivity. In simple words, you can get the most results in less time by using this rule. Therefore, in this clip, we want to learn more about this law. Pareto's law. In 1906, there lived an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto, who one day noticed that each year only 20% of the pea pods in his garden produced 80% of the annual crop. This made him think of implementing this model on a larger scale in the economy. He found with certainty that in many industries, societies, and even companies, 80% of production is done by only 20% of activities. This fact is known as Pareto's law or the 20-80th principle. Businesses usually conclude that approximately 80% of their products are purchased by 20% of customers. They have concluded that only 20% of their sales representatives make up 80% of the company's total sales. They also found that only 20% of the money they spend accounts for 80% of their total expenses. If we want to express this principle in the language of managers, we should say that they have realized that 20% of the time they spend leads to 80% of their efficiency and only 20% of their employees create 80% of the value created for the company. It has not reached 80 and 20 percentages, but it can be roughly said that the ratio of 1 to 4 is constant in most cases. Now, whether this ratio is 76 to 24 or 83 to 17 is not so important. How to apply the 20-80th strategy in life? Today, Pareto's law is widely used in businesses to increase the productivity and efficiency of companies, and it is also taught as an important method in most educational courses. But few people apply the 20-80th principle in their daily life. For example, have you ever thought, how do you spend 20% of your time that brings you 80% of happiness? Who are the 20% of people who create 80% of your happiness? What are 20% of the clothes you wear 80% of the time? Which foods are 20% of the food you eat in 80% of cases? Answer these questions to increase the quality of your life. For example, you may find that the people you spend 80% of your time with contribute only 20% to your happiness. So you have to meet new people. Or you find that you only wear 20% of your clothes 80% of the time, so you can sell or donate the remaining 80%. American psychologist and author Mark Manson says, "The first time I tried to implement the 20-80th principle in my daily life, suddenly some interesting points were revealed to me. For example, number 1. My few pastimes, TV shows and video games, that filled 80% of my time only provided 20% of my happiness. Number 2. I found little enjoyment in hanging out with the friends I spent 80% of my time with. As a result, I didn't enjoy my social relationships as much. Number 3. 80% of the things I spent my money on were not useful for me or suited my lifestyle. Realizing these things made me make many changes in my choices and lifestyle. I would choose between video games and television. I tried to make other friends and spend time with them and be more careful about how I spend my money. You can use this law to have more impact on your work. What are the activities in your work environment where you spend 80% of your time but only 20% of the results depend on them, such as constantly checking emails, taking notes, or spending too much time making basic and unimportant decisions? What are the 20% of activities that provide 80% of your credibility with your team or boss? You can apply the 80-20th principle in your emotional life and romantic relationships. What are the 20% of behaviors that cause 80% of problems in your relationships? What are the 20% of conversations that create 80% intimacy with your partner? These are very important questions that we never think about in life. Of course, we shouldn't expect that there is a way to increase effectiveness in all aspects of life and all the things we do. But when we take full responsibility for them, we can find a way to improve them. You only have to think about what changes you can make in your life based on Pareto's law. Take some time to think about this rule, and even write your thoughts down on paper. You'll probably be surprised at the things you can think of that you can improve based on the 80/20 principle.